Hello students, today's lesson is about Sunflower by Post Malone and Swae Lee. So what we're going to go over is the different elements of this track, the fact that there's two hats, and the pattern that happens between the snare drum and the bass drum. Let's address that one first. So this pattern is a kick drum on beat 1, snare on beat 2, kick drum on the end of beat 2, and then a snare drum on 4. So that's like this. 1, 2, and 3, 4. 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 So a pretty standard pattern. This is if you were to take the absolute very basic rock pattern, which is just 1, 2, 3, 4. All we're doing is moving that second kick drum from beat 3 over to the end of 2, so 1/8 note early. And what that does is it gives where the standard beat is on 1, 2, 3, 4. This one being 1, 2, and 4, 1, 2, and it gives some extra length to that second kick drum, and it comes in early, so it kind of knocks you just off a little bit. So it has this kind of lopsided feel to the beat, which is pretty interesting. This one's I've heard it referred to as a push rhythm or a push kick, push pattern. So what we do then is, if you want to play just the absolute stripped out basic version, which would be pretty cool, pretty standard just on its own, fine. What we have is just 8 notes in the hat. I can play it over on my principal hat and play the pattern that you have in the kick drum and snare. There's a lot of different variations you can do within keeping that absolute skeleton there. That 1, 2, and 4, 1, 2, and 4. Now, if you want to, after the first intro, the hi-hat's playing all 16th notes. So what we can do then is move it from 8 notes up to 16ths. You'll notice that I'm not playing all those even. That's going to get really tiring and really put a lot of stress, and you're going to develop some tension in your hand. You're not going to be able to play at that speed for the entire song, most likely. So to make it, put in some grouping and give it a little bit more groove to it, what we'll do is we'll accent the upbeats. What I'm doing there is kind of a Muller stroke. It's a real tiny, whereas a big full Muller stroke starts at the elbow and the shoulder and comes down. I'm doing a really limited one where I'm just kind of turning my hand. So what I'm doing is I'm playing very relaxed with some space in the back of the hand. And I'm letting the stick bounce as much as possible. So on the end is an accent, wind up for the accent, kind of whip it down, and the is just a bounce note. I'm not even really stroking that one out. It's just a timed, controlled bounce. 1. Then on 1E, I'm putting a little bit of emphasis with my wrist to keep it in time and keep some power there. And on the E is what's called a flyback. So I kind of pull my fingers in. I don't snap them completely shut. but I do pull my fingers in and I lift my arm at my wrist. Sorry, I'm lifting from the elbow, but I kind of bend the wrist so I can get a stroke down at the same time. And that way you can get 4 notes from one accent. And we'll put that to the beat. It'll sound like this. Now, if we want to play more like the track, what we're going to need is 2 hi-hats. A lot of trap music has like kind of multiple hi-hat parts, and that could be like one having kind of like a higher pitch or a lower volume than the other one. It just gives this cool little echo panned kind of effect to it. So with this, that second hi-hat part is going to be 1 E and a 1 E and a 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 E and a 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 E. And it's open on the end of 2. If you just have one hat, you could actually switch between those 2 patterns. So we'll start off with like the 8 notes. And that's some different ways you can move that around. Now, to play what's more accurate representation of the track, we're going to need 2 hi-hats. So one hi-hat is just going to be playing the 16th notes. The other hand is going to play the hi-hat and the snare. Play it a little slower. Now it's going to be up to us as acoustic drummers to work in fills if we want to just do, or since there's a lot of 30-second notes and 30-second note triplets that happen in trap music. One thing that's like a David Garibaldi idea is instead of just playing like a 1E and or a, add the kick drum to the first note there, and then move the two hands closer together. So instead of just playing like a what you do is a little 30-second note. So instead of just playing 1 or 2 and, we're going to go. Stuff and patterns you can create with that. Then, anytime I do a cover that's like of something electronic, I always like to like put more of the acoustic element towards the end of the song, like on the last chorus. So there, what we can do is just move the right hand over to the ride, play a real simple pattern. 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4. Switch it around, play just not just 1 and a 2 and a 1. Also play like 1E and 2E and. Many things you can do with that. So why don't we just, and then also like if you want to add some more emphasis to the downbeat, bell's the perfect place to play. And one more pattern that I really like to do a lot, it's like a linear pattern. If you watch the other videos that's about advanced rhythms or rhythmic patterns, what you can do is take a group of 3 and a group of 5 and add those together to get 8. So what we're going to do is we're going to put the beginning of the grouping in the kick drum and then play on the toms for the middle. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. And depending on where you start and what groupings you're doing and the way you orchestrate it, you can create basically just like a beat like that, where I have the snare drum on 2 and 4. But you're able to play this super fast since it's linear and you're not using too many continuous strokes. So where our beat is here, stuff that's really easy and able to be pulled off kind of calm and tasteful, even though it sounds incredibly fast. I find that those go really well with all this trap stuff. All right, I'll see you in the next video.